Welcome to the Texas Baseball Ranch. I'm Coach Wolforth, and this is your DuraThrow tip of the week. Now, a lot of you are in the middle of playing games right now, and the big difference between games and practices is anxiety, right? It's all of a sudden you're in a game and all of a sudden the crowd gets into it, or the opposition dugout is on you, or your coach is snapping at you, or your players are telling you just to throw strikes, you just got all this sort of other anxiety that you never have in a game. You don't get, in practice. You get in a game, and so now how do you deal with it? Well, there's two different things. Try to create in your practices some games that have consequences to it, so you get used to competing and get used to having some anxiety and some consequences. That's the first thing. The second thing is a couple strategies for when you start to feel anxious in games. What actually happens when you start to feel anxious in game, your breathing gets very rapid and very shallow, and you start to tense up, and you start to really think about the negative consequences. Oh no, I can't throw a ball here. I can't serve it up. Or if I miss my spot, it's going to get crushed. And you start thinking about all these negative consequences. Well, there is a real truth, is that physiology actually leads to psychology, and psychology leads to physiology. They're interlinked, they're intertwined. And so the first thing you want to do is make sure that your body language is really good. It's a lot easier to get anxiety and be tense when you're like this, with your body language good. Get really big, and then make sure that you breathe. If you watch somebody that's about ready to go for a record in a bench press or a squat, you'll see them go. Well, it's kind of hard to be anxious or scared or nervous when you do that. The physiology just can't happen. So first of all, breathe. Breathe heavily, breathe deeply, slowly, and from your diaphragm. And so let's say you'll see a lot of times the game's on the line, you'll see a guy just go, and that just lets it out. That helps. Another one, if you go to watch an elite track meet, you'll see two things that are really odd that you would never think of. You'll see track athletes yawning. You'll see them before 100-meter finals in the gold medal. You'll see them go, right? And you're thinking, how could you possibly be yawning? You're about ready to face Usain Bolt. And what that does, you cannot be anxious and yawn. Whenever you yawn, as you're listening right now and watching right now, just yawn and see your anxiety just kind of go away. The body, when you yawn, everything, it just changes you. The second thing is you'll see another odd thing. You'll see somebody getting ready for a race, and you'll see smiles. You'll see them in the box going. And if you remember that famous hurdler from Australia, and she's kind of dancing, and she's doing that, getting ready for a race, and she was a sensation. Do we really think that she's that happy that she's going to run? No, she had the same amount of nerves that we did, but you cannot be nervous, and when you smile big, that changes you. So once again, when you feel like things are going, you're just feeling a little anxious, get big, smile, and then occasionally yawn like you have everything under control. That really helps the body and mind quiet. Now, for me personally, I'll tell you a real quick personal story. Anytime that I'm speaking in front of a really, really large group, let's say at the American Baseball Coaches Association, there'll be 4,000, 5,000 people that you got to go speak to, right? And so it's kind of scary. It's kind of dark, and you get all these people, and of course you have anxiety. So the one thing that I do is when I walk out there, I walk big, I get big, I breathe deep, I smile, And if I get a break where no one thinks that I'm being disrespectful, I yawn intentionally. So those are things that kind of reduce or bring down your anxiety level, and that's always kind of important when you're playing, because sometimes the game gets too fast, our breathing gets shallow, and we start to have negative thoughts about what's going to happen. And whenever we do that, we've all been there, we've all experienced it, and it's not good. So think about those things the next time that you're in a game, and I would say practice it. In practice those things, and you can actually practice them at home in front of a mirror and that sort of thing, and really get an idea. And then the final thing is watch games on TV, sporting events on TV. You'll see it far more often than you think. So once again, this has been your DuraThrow tip of the week, and I'm Coach Woolforth. Until I see you next time, keep getting after it.